Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the intermediate level. Today, we're going to be talking about introduction to JavaScript. As you already know, HTML deals with the structure of the page, CSS deals with the styling of the page. Today, we're going to be talking about how to make the web page function. We're going to be talking about at the end of today, you should have a basic understanding of what JavaScript is, know how to use the consoles, explain what variables are, differentiate between let, var, and const. So moving on, I'm going to be talking about what is JavaScript. First of all, JavaScript was invented by Brendan Eich in 1995. It's a language that enables you to create dynamically, uploading context, control multimedia, animate images, and a lot of amazing things. Like creating a web page, you might have created your first profile page or a portfolio page. When you click on something, an event happens. Those things are controlled by JavaScript. They allow you create interactions between you and your web page. They allow your web page to function and so much more. JavaScript is easy to learn and you learn a lot of things along this course. You learn about a lot of cool things JavaScript can do and how to do them. Like I said earlier, HTML is for the content and structure of the page. CSS is for styling how the elements should appear. And JavaScript is for adding interactivity. So now you have learned about HTML and CSS, let's begin with JavaScript. First of all, to know about what JavaScript is, you need to understand about JavaScript syntax. JavaScript are written in script tags in an HTML file or could be linked to an external JS file. For example, the example below, in your for example index.html, you can create a script tag and write inside it. This is JavaScript. This is a function in JavaScript. You learn about functions later. Or you can link your code to an external JS file just like you did with your CSS, where you use link and href. So today, JavaScript syntax defines two values. We have fixed values and variables values, which are called variables. The script tag can be inserted in the head and body section depending on your choice. Moving on, I'm going to talk about objects and types in JavaScript. JavaScript numbers are written with or without decimals, also known as floats or integers. The string are written in text. Your string must always be written in text. For example, let's say we're assigning a variable. Let's say we need to assign a variable. Let's say code for you, and we want to let's say let's, because you learn about let's in the next minute. So let's code for you equals to, it always have to be string. Let's say my first JavaScript code. This is what we mean by string. This is what we mean by text. In JavaScript, when assigning variables or text, you always put them in quotation marks, either single or double. In JavaScript, you use mathematical operations to calculate values and perform mathematical operations. So we practice a lot of things with the console moving on. And in JavaScript, we talk about comments. Comments in codes are a way of making your code readable and making your code to be understandable in future use. For example, now you may write a lot of complex things in JavaScript and you might not understand them later. But writing comments can make you read them later and understand what you did for future references. For example, now let's say you create a function to perform a task. You can comment that this is what this function does and this is how you do it, so that when next time you visit the code, you'll be able to understand what you have done. So moving on quickly, I'm going to talk about variables in JavaScript. Variables are basically names for values such as number, string, or text. You create a variable with the keyword let followed by a name of your variable. Variables are like containers that store the values of what you are seeing today. Like I created earlier, for example, at this, I said let's code for you equals to my first JavaScript code. Code for you here is a variable. It's like a container. It stores the text, my first JavaScript code. That's what variables do for you. They are like containers. They hold information for you. You can say let's code for you equals to my first code in JavaScript, like I said earlier. Constant are also used to name values, but unlike variables, you can change the value once set. Like the name implies, variable means they can be changed, but constant are meant to be constant. That means the values cannot change or cannot be assigned. In this case, we are using constant to store references to parts of our user interface. The text inside some of these elements might change, but each constant always references the same HTML element that it was initialized with. We create a constant with the keyword const followed by a name of the constant. You can assign a value to your variable and constant with the equal sign followed by the value you want to give it. Okay, for understanding purpose, we said we declared a variable using let. So let's say we want to declare a variable using const. The constant, we say const equals to let's say code for you or young to young equals to this is a constant. We'll be moving on to the code editor to practice all I've said earlier, but I'm just giving you a short brief of how you can assign variables in JavaScript, because variables are like the basics of all what you'll be doing. Because in JavaScript, JavaScript deals with interaction of the web page, so you'll be creating a lot of functions, a lot of events. JavaScript can also be used to make games and lots more. Also, moving on, in JavaScript, you can declare a variable using var, let, and const. Always declare JavaScript variables with var, let, and const. The var keyword is used in all JavaScript code from 1995 to 2015. The let and const keywords were added to JavaScript in 2015. So basically, if you want to use on older browsers, you use the variable keyword. Variable keyword also works like the let keyword. It just declares a variable that you can change later. If you want your code to run in older browsers, like I said, you must use var. Variables have containers for storing values. I mentioned that earlier. These are just key points to note. JavaScript identifiers are case sensitive. That means code for you in small letters is different from code for you capital letters. Another point to note: JavaScript uses lower camel case syntax for programming. For example, this is lower camel case start like this. Let's say first code equals to camel case. Camel case starts with capital letter, with small letter, then the next word begins with capital letter, and so on and so forth. So JavaScript uses a lowercase camel lettering as a syntax. So we have learned about what JavaScript is, what we can use JavaScript to do, and we have said lets and variable are used to declare variables that can be that their values can be changed, but const, their values cannot be changed. Their values can change, but they cannot be reassigned. So let's learn about the console and do some practice. So this is an index.js file I created, but let me show you how I linked it. So the file was linked using the script source like I mentioned earlier, index.js. I put this at the end of my body because I want my page to load first before it starts implementing the JavaScript. That's the best practice when linking your JavaScript, your file, into your HTML code. So since I talked about variables, let me give you some example. So I'll say var JavaScript equals to excited and coding. So something like this. So if you see console.log JavaScript, it will bring out the value of this container. So let's open our console. Okay. Okay, yeah, this is the web page. So for you to inspect the web page, you're going to open our console. This is our console. With the inspect element, the JavaScript element, you are able to inspect the page and look at how the page was made, the elements used in making the page, and a lot of other functions. So looking at our console, you can see what is written here. I'm excited I am coding. This was done with our index.js file, but you cannot, after doing a variable, you cannot say var JavaScript again. This will throw an error. Another variable. JavaScript. Yeah, it changes the, you see, it changes the value for our JavaScript file. You can also say console.log this line of code, and this is also show up. Yeah, these are a lot of cool things you can do with your console. Your console is like a way of helping you debug. When you go deeper into JavaScript, we'll talk about functions and a lot of things you need to implement. When you see that a particular function or you're facing an error, you can just inspect the page and open the console and see what's wrong. The console enabled us to understand like what's going on. We can comment some codes and console.log some functions to know where our error comes from. So now I'm going to do something cool. I want to change an element using JavaScript. So let's say this is h2, so let me give it an ID of theme. So I'll come to our JS file and I want to say variable text. So with what I have learned about variable, and I say document dot get elements by ID. Can name it text, and in string, don't forget. So after doing that, you can see text dot inner HTML equals to this is JavaScript. Okay, cannot set properties of no setting inner.html. Okay, let's look at what's wrong. Documents.get elements by ID. Okay, coming. Cannot set property of null. That means, oh, we gave it theme, not text. Sorry about that. So TEAM. So yeah, you see, it's changed from um, meet our theme to this is JavaScript. You can see that we can also use JavaScript to change values in our HTML file. Document is like a way of accessing the web page or accessing the folder where you're working. So we look at it now. We just changed a text in the HTML using JavaScript by getting the ID, assigning an ID, and changing it. So we can also do something like this. Variable text equals to document.get ID. Then we can now come here and say text dot inner dot html, and this will also work. Yes, this is JavaScript. I can also change it to something like JavaScript is cool. It's cool. So if you look at it, you see it's changed. JavaScript is cool. These are the importance of variables. Variables help our work to look neater. You see, using variable text now, we're able to break the long text of line into just short words using variable. So now using constants, you can also say const equals to document dot inner html. Oh, sorry, document, we have to create this create selector to get what we want. Say get elements by ID. Let's say let's assign another one. Let's see about us. Let's give this one an ID. I'm sure you know about what ID is in your HTML, CSS, ID and classes. So let's give this one an ID of about. So come into our JavaScript and say get element by ID about. Okay. Oh, we didn't assign, we didn't give it a name. So let's say constant, or let's say const about. Okay. Okay. You can now say about dot inner html equals to I love JavaScript. If we go back here, you can see that yeah, it has changed here from about us to I love JavaScript. These are a lot of things we can do in JavaScript. Because there are also like events and elements in JavaScript where you can click on something, add an event, and to change depending on what you assign to it. We'll be talking about that in some of our classes ahead. So now we understand the importance of variables, constants in our code. So I was talking about constants earlier, that you cannot reassign the same constant twice. That's why it's a constant. So if I say constant about, this is wrong. See, it's highlighted it because declarations mean you cannot assign. Okay, let's see. I cannot assign something twice. Let's say let's give it document. Let's try to assign it to the one we assigned earlier. Get elements by ID about. Tab. Document get mo. Okay, get elements by ID team. You see, it shows an error. About has been already declared. So that means using constants, you cannot declare the same variable twice. That's why it's named constant. So using let is can use let's say if you want to declare a variable generally, you can say let name equals to abida. Okay, said in string, your text should always be in string abida. This is you can now say console.log name. This will print abida for us. Can you see? This will print abida for us. These are ways in which we can access what is inside our variables. Like I said earlier, variables act as container. So in JavaScript, if variables act as container, it is easier for us to store values into our variables and then later access them using functions and method. We'll be talking about functions and method later in subsequent lessons. So now moving from console, you have learned about console. Now let's move to alert. This is another way to interact with your browser. So we said let's name equals to abida. Let me try something cool. What do you think alert's name do? So let's go to our browser. You see it says okay, it pops up something. Let's see alert text. Let's see. Object HTML. Oh, let's say alert, my first alert statement. Why can't we see what it's saying? Did I give it? It's meant to show. Let's go back again. Control R. Okay, yes, this is it. My first alert statement. So what alert statement does is that it pops out a message for you in your browser. So if you say alert, it's going to, let's say alert, let's say let's what can we name this variable? Let's sentence equals to I am enjoying JavaScript. Enjoying JavaScript. Then you can say something like alert sentence. This first is my first alert statement for the first alert statement we created earlier. And okay. Okay. Is actually meant to create the two alert statements actually meant to work together. See, yeah, and yes, I am enjoying JavaScript. You have to refresh the page. You see, our first statement says my first alert statement. Now our second statement assigns is assigned the variable what is inside the variable sentence, which is I am enjoying JavaScript. So we go back. If you load the page, it says my first alert statement. Okay, then it prompts alerts the second one. I am enjoying JavaScript. So another way to interact with our browser, we say prompt. What does prompt do? Prompt is a way of collecting input from the user using the same alert method. So you can say prompt, what is your name? Like I said, it's a way of collecting info from us. So if you go back, this is my first alert statement. Okay, I'm enjoying JavaScript. Okay, oh, refresh the page. Let's go again. Yeah, you see what prompt does. It asks for input for us. That's the difference between prompt and alert. Alert give us information. Prompt it prompts us to give to receive information from us. So if you say let's say Abida, pass it information, it does not do anything because we didn't ask it to do anything. So if you say if you assign a variable to it, let's say let's JavaScript, let's say let's me equals to prompt, and we say console.log me. All this will do for us is that let's refresh the page. It says I'm enjoying JavaScript. What is your name? So I can say Abida, and it's console. Okay, let's say it prints Abida again for us. You see what we did? So we assigned the variable me to prompt, then we printed what we passed into the prompt in the console. As easy as that. Without variables, this won't be possible because we cannot say console.log prompt. It could work that way, but it is not proper. It's proper to assign a variable to a statement, then access that variable, access the content of the variable in other ways. So now I've talked about console, variables, lets, and const. So moving on, let's talk about mathematical operations in JavaScript. So let's say calc equals to let's say let's calc, yeah, declaring the variable equals to 2 times 2 plus 4, and we can say prompt alert, want to alert info, you can say alert calc. So let me comment all this. Write all this in control slash to comments. Yeah. So alt tab refresh the page. Yeah, it says it's so what JavaScript does is calculate this for us 2 times 2 4 plus 4 8. JavaScript calculations are just like normal mathematical calculation. But let's say we say let's first name, you use camel casing in JavaScript, so like I said earlier, let first name equals to Abida, and we say let's last name equals to Alabi. So you can see something like full name variable full name equals to first name plus, because we want space in the middle. What this does for us is it concatenates both the first name and the last name together plus the space, so plus last name. So now that we have a variable full name, you can now see alert full name, or we can see console.log .log full name. Okay, so refresh our page. Okay, done with this. Yeah, you see it's alerts the full name because with the space that we added at the middle. We press OK, it's console.log the full name. Can you see over here where my cursor is? So these are a lot of basic things you can do with JavaScript. Talked about variables, talked about how to interact with your browser using the console, talked about constants, talked about lets, talked about variable. I said variable was the first variable assigning method created before let and const were introduced later in 2015. I talked about how we can assign variables, how we can access our variables. So by now, you should be able to understand what variables are, what variables can do, how you can access variables, some methods in JavaScript, how you can interact with the console, how you can use the alert statements, and a lot more. We'll continue from here in the next lesson.